Hello everybody, welcome. It's Juliet here. Today I have a little bit of a different project for you. I know a lot of you like peyote and I haven't done much peyote recently, so I thought we would do a peyote based project. So this is kind of, I guess, a fractured earring or a fractal earring, and so it's just made up of several different shapes here, and the coloring kind of makes it look a little bit broken up, and then I've added some crystals in between. And the fun thing about this is you can arrange the pieces however you want, so you can make them mismatched, or you can, copy what you've done on the first earring to make the second earring, or you don't even have to make it as an earring. You could, keep joining pieces on and kind of make a bracelet. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to make these components here, and then you can join them however you want. Okay, so I'm using some Delica's Miyuki Delica beads, size 11 today. So I have some gold, which is the one I'm using is 1832. Okay, just ignore that. That's just telling me it's a Delica bead, Miyuki. Okay, 1832. That's my little code up there. Okay, same here, Miyuki Delica bead. I'm using the silver colored one, which is number 35. Okay, I am using black, which is number 10. And then I have some 15-0s here in a gold. So these are Miyuki 15-0 rounds, number 1052. And those are used in just for the corners, just to kind of finish off the edges of our shapes here. Okay, so you can see them there. Okay. And then I have some 3mm bicones here just to join up, which you can see. You can use as many or as few as you want in the joining process. Some areas are joined just by sewing directly into the edge of the item, the thing it's joined onto, like here and here and here. Okay, and some areas I joined by using a bicone, like here, that's not joined right there. So here. Okay, so that kind of helps to give it a more jagged appearance if you kind of stagger the way you're joining it up. Okay, so for mine, I am using one of these big kind of kite shapes, and then two smaller kite shapes and two triangles. Okay, so for those of you who already know how to do the triangle, you might want to skip forward and I'll put a time code for that. What I did was once you have 5 of a color on the outside row, then you're going to add 1 row of gold and then circle around and add your 15 O's at the points. Okay. If you don't know how to make a triangle, stay here and then I'll come back and show you how to make these other 2 pieces as well. Okay. All right. So let's get started first of all with our triangle. So what I did for thread is I just got kind of a nice longish piece, 3 or 4 feet. These little components do not take up a lot of thread. So what I'll do is I'll just use as much as I need, cut it off and continue on. Okay. And I am using Dragonthread today in smoke, size 6. And I'm using a beading needle, size 10. And then also just to join at the top, you could, if you wanted to, you could put a wire guard, but I just poked my my jump ring straight through like the corner of my triangle here, just between the gap in the beads, and then just attached my earring on at the top. So however you want to do it. Okay. All right. So triangle, first of all. So go ahead and give yourself enough of a tail that you'll be able to weave it in, kind of 4 inches. It should be more than enough. Okay. We're going to pick up 2 of our black beads and 1 silver bead. Okay. And you're going to push those down to where you're leaving your tail, and you're going to sew through all of them again from the bottom, from the short end here. There's the short end, so you're going to sew through all of those again. Should form a ring. Okay, I've got a ring around my finger here. So go ahead, pull, and then sew through that very first black bead one more time just to close up that gap. So we should now have this little triangle like this, and I'm going to flip it so that I am working in the direction I like to work, which is this way. Okay, so put that triangle on the bottom, and if you're left-handed, it'll be that way. Okay, but all right, so we're going to pick up 2 of our black Delicas. We're going to sew into the next black bead. And what you want is you want them to kind of sit like this. Okay. You're going to pick up 1 black Delica and 1 silver. And you're going to sew into the next silver bead. Again, just try and arrange them so that they sit next to each other. If they don't want to cooperate, it won't matter too much. You can fix it in the next round, but you want them to kind of sit like that, okay, so that they're kind of next to each other, stacked up like this, okay? Then you're going to pick up a silver and a black Delica, and you're going to sew into the next black bead, and then we're going to step up through the next black bead. So you're going to sew through 2 black beads. Okay. And again, just try and get them to sit nicely. They don't always cooperate. Try and keep your tail on the bottom so that it's not going to get in your way. So we're coming out from the black beads here. We're going to pick up 2 because this is our seam right here. So pick up 2 and go into the next Delica. You're going to pick up 1 black bead, go into the next corner. Here we're going to pick up a black bead and then a silver bead. You're going to go into the next silver bead and just get those to sit properly. Go ahead, pick up a silver bead and sew into the next silver bead. Pick up a silver and a black, and you're going to sew into the next black bead. And lastly, you're going to pick up 1 black bead, and you're going to sew up the end 2 black beads right here. So you're going through 2, okay? So you'll know when you get to the end of the round because it's always going to be the bit where there's the 2 black beads. Okay, that's the end of your round where you have to step up. Okay, so we're going to do another round. So we're going to pick up 2 black beads. We're going to go into the very next one at the corner, okay, and pull, okay. Then we're going to pick up 1 single bead, go into the next black bead, which is the middle one here, another black bead, and go into the next black bead, which is the corner. At the corner, we need to pick up 2, so we're going to pick up a black and a silver. You're going to sew into the silver bead, pick up another silver, go into the next sticking out silver bead, 1 more silver, go into the corner silver bead, and then here we're going to pick up 2 because we're at the corner. So we're going to pick up a silver and a black. Go into the corner black bead. Pick up a black, go into the middle black bead. Black again, and we're stepping up because we're approaching the corner that is our black, all black corner, okay? So go through 2. All right, so we have one more round to do of our black and our silver, and then we're going to do a round of gold. So very quickly, we're going to pick up 2 for the corner. So 2 black, go into that very next corner bead. And then we're going to pick up 3 individuals. So 1, 2, and 3. Then we're going to pick up 2 for our corner here, so a black and a silver. So into that corner silver bead. And then again, picking up 3 of our silver beads. So 1, 2, and 3. Coming out the corner, so we're picking up 2 this time, so a silver and a black. You're going into that corner black bead. And then 3 black. So 1, 2, and on this last one, we have to step up. Okay, so step up through 2. Okay, so now we're going to do a round with just gold beads. So use just your gold Delicas right now. So pick up 2 gold Delicas, go into the next corner black bead. Okay, and then you're going to pick up 4 individuals. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then here at the corner, as normal, we're going to pick up 2 gold beads, okay? And then again, pick up 4 individual. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Here at the corner again, we're going to pick up 2. And again, 4 individual. So 1, 2, 3, and 1 more. And on this last one, you're going to go into this black bead and the gold bead. So you have to go through 2 at the end of that round, okay? So you're going through the black bead and the gold bead at the very end. Okay, so now all we have to do is add 1 15-0 at each corner. So we're just going to pick up our 15-0, and then we're just going to sew down all the side beads. And this is good because it does help to reinforce the edges, and kind of, if you have anything loose, it'll tighten it up and it'll make it a little bit more sturdy so that your earring will be a little less likely to flop. If you don't have dragon thread, I would actually say Fireline is quite good for this, But you could also use a nylon thread for this if that's what you prefer. Okay, so the thread's not that important. It's just, you know, whatever you feel comfortable with here. All right, so at the other corner, we're going to pick up another 15-0 and just continue going down all those beads. So remember, you have to go not just through the edge beads, you have to go through the inner bead as well, okay? So okay, and here we are at the third corner to add our last 15-0. And go ahead, go all the way down till you pass through the first 15-0 that we added on in this round. Okay, so I've arrived back at my original first corner. I'm going to pass through that 15-0 at the top. And then I'm going to flip over to the back. And do you see this line of beads right here that starts with this gold one and it just goes right down to the middle? I am just going to sew down through all of those beads right there, that whole line of beads, and I'm going to come out right here. Okay, so do you see what I'm doing? And then I'm going to turn into this bead that's right next to the bead where I am right here. Sorry, I know it's kind of hard to see because it's black. Okay, I'm coming out this bead. This bead is exactly beside it, okay? So I'm going to turn and go into that bead and the bead above it. So I'm just turning my thread. Once I come out there, I can cut it. So I just wanted to kind of turn so that it's going to be less likely to pull out. It's not very likely to pull out because we attached our bottom, we went all the way up here, all the way down, so it's probably not going to pull out. Okay, so what I would say is if you have 2 needles, maybe leave your thread threaded so you don't have to unthread. And what you're going to do here is you're going to just thread your other, like with another needle, thread that other end, your starting thread, okay, which should be coming out from the middle bead next to the silver right here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run straight down through all of these silver beads, going away from where my thread is coming out. And then I'm going to turn into, I'm coming out from this silver bead right here. I'm just going to turn into this gold bead and go back up through here. And then I can just cut that off as well. And that should stay nice and sturdy and you don't need to worry about it coming undone, okay? All right, so go ahead and make 2 of those triangles. And then we're going to learn how to make this little shape here. And what I did was I used 2 of them in my earring here. I mean, again, it's up to you. You can use whatever combination and number of shapes you want to make, depending on what you're doing. You know, if you're making a bracelet, you're gonna have to make a lot more. So, okay, so let's learn how to make this little guy, okay? All right, so for him, again, leave your little tail so that you can weave in at the end. You're going to pick up 2 black and 2 silver Delicas. So 2 black and 2 silver. You're going to push those all down, leave that tail, and you're going to sew through all of those beads again to form a ring, okay? Should form a circle. And you're going to sew into that very first black bead one more time and pull. Okay, so you should now have kind of a little square like this, okay? And I'm going to turn it so that I'm coming out on the right hand side, going up so that I can work in the direction I like to work, which is anti-clockwise or counterclockwise. If you are left-handed, you're going to want it coming out this way and you're going to work in this direction. Okay. All right. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick up 2 of our black beads and we're going to sew into the very next black bead. So this is kind of like what we did for the triangle. So we have a seam right here, okay? Pick up 1 black bead and sew into the silver bead. You're going to pick up 2 silver beads and you're going to sew into the next silver bead. And try and just keep your tail behind you at this point so that it goes on the back, okay? Like I just have it kind of wrapped around my finger. I'm trying to get those to sit properly. There we go. And here on this side right here, between the silver and the black, we're going to add 1 silver bead. And then you're going to step up through 2 black beads, okay? So it should look like this. All right, you're going to pick up 2 black beads, go into the next black bead at the point, 1 black bead into the next bead, pick up 1 silver bead, go into the end silver bead, and then pick up 2 silver, and go down into the next silver bead at the end, okay? And again, try and get them to sit next to each other. So you want a seam running this way, okay? Pick up 1 silver bead, go into the next bead on the side there, which is the silver one. And finally pick up 1 black bead. And you're going to sew into the top 2 black beads. So you're going through 2, okay? So we now have this. So now pick up 2 black beads and sew down into the next bead. Pick up 1 black bead. Here we have, as you'll see, a kind of a big gap. So you're going to pick up 2 black beads right here, okay? And you're going to go into the next silver bead. Okay. Pick up 1 silver bead. Go into that end. Okay, now we have to turn. So we're going to pick up 2 silver beads. Go into the end bead there. Pick up 1 silver bead, go into the next bead here, and then just like on the other side, we have this bigger gap, so we're going to pick up 2 silver beads right here. You're going to go into the black bead, and then we're going to pick up 1 black bead, and we have to step up at this point. So we're going to just sew up the top 2 black beads to step up. Okay, so it should now look like this. So now we're going to add a round of gold. Sorry, I managed to flip it over. Okay, so pick up 2 gold beads and sew into that next corner bead at the top, okay? we're going to pick up 2 individual gold beads, so 1 and then a second one, and then here you're going to want to pick up a 15-0. Okay, so this is a 15-0 round. You're going to go into the very next black bead. Okay, and then we're going to pick up 2 single Delicas, so 1 gold Delica into the silver and another gold Delica. At the end here we have to pick up 2 gold Delicas. Again, 2 single Delicas, so 1 and 2. And then here at this corner, we're going to pick up our 15-0. Okay. Go straight into that next silver Delica. And then 2 gold Delicas. And here you're going to step up by going into the last black Delica plus the gold Delica. Okay, so now we're just going to add a 15-0 at each end, and then this shape will be completed. Okay, so go ahead, pick up a 15-0. Go straight into the next Delica, and then you're going to work your way all the way around. So go ahead and go into the next black one as well. And just reinforce that edge like we did for our triangle. Remember how we sewed around the edge of the triangle? So we're just kind of like reinforcing here, okay? And when you get to the other end, you can go ahead and just pick up a 15-0, go into the next beads and work your way all the way back to the first 15-0, just so that it's even on both sides, because if we've gone all the way and reinforced the whole first side, we need to reinforce the whole second side as well. Okay, don't want to be lopsided here. Okay, and when you get back to the top, we're going to do the same thing that we did for our triangle. So you're just going to sew through your 15-0, and then you can turn over to the back and see this line of beads running down the middle. I'm just going to sew straight down there. Just go through as many as you feel like. I'm going to go through all those black ones, okay? And then I'm going to look and see, okay, so that bead right here is my equivalent bead. So I'm just going to turn into him, and I'm going to go up that one and the next one right here. And then I'm going to just cut my thread off. And then you're going to thread your other tail, do the similar thing, okay? So I'm coming out from the black, I would run down the silver, and then you could either turn up here or wherever you want to bury your thread, and then just cut it off, okay? And then that is that little shape complete, and you're going to want to make 2 of those as well. And then now we're just going to learn how to make our bigger kite shape, okay? All right. Okay, so we're going to begin on our larger kite shape now. And just to say, you don't have to place the colors where I'm placing them. You can place them anywhere that you want to place them, okay? So feel free to like play around and put them in different places if you want to. Okay, so to begin, we're going to pick up 4 of our black Delicas. Okay, so that's 4. And you're going to push them down, leave that tail, and start by making a circle. So sew through from the tail end all 4, make that little ring. And then, so again, through that very first bead in order to close it all up into a square, okay? And then make sure you're facing the direction that you want to work. So I like to be coming out from the right-hand side, pointing upwards. Okay, if you're left-handed, you'll probably want to be coming out from the left-hand side, pointing upwards. Okay, so we're going to pick up 2 of our black beads and go into the next bead. So that will be the top seam here, okay? Then you're going to pick up 1 black bead and go into the next bead. And this is our side, okay? So the side only has 1. So the sides on this, you're basically doing 1 on one round and then 2 on the next round. But the top and the bottom, you're always adding 2, okay? All right, so here we're gonna add 2 for the bottom bit right here, okay? So pick up 2, go into the next bead, and 1 more black bead. And then remember, you have to step up at the end of the round by going up through 2, okay? And I need to just adjust my bottom beads here. If you can't get them to sit right, they will sit right on the next round. But it should kind of be shaped like this, okay? These should be a little bit better behaved, which they are not. Okay, so again, you're going to pick up 2 black beads for the top. Go into the very next bead. You're going to pick up 1 black bead, go into the next bead. 1 black bead, go into the next bead, which is the bottom. Okay, and then again, here we're going to pick up 2 black beads. Go into the next bead at the bottom. Okay, so we've kind of got our seam established now a little bit better. Okay. Pick up 1 black bead, go into the side bead, and pick up 1 black bead, and here we have to step up, so you're going to go through 2 black beads at the top here, okay, to step up. All right, so now we're going to start our next round. So you're going to pick up 2 black beads, always 2 at the top here. 1, and then here on the side you're going to pick up 2 because we have a big gap to fill here, so pick up 2, okay. Pick up 1 black bead. Here we're going to pick up 1 black bead and 1 silver bead. So we're going to start adding some silver now, okay? And you're going to go up into that next bottom black bead. You're going to pick up 1 silver bead, go into the next bead, and then we're going to pick up 2 black beads, go into the next bead over because we have that big gap on the side, okay? And then 1 black bead, and remember we're stepping up through 2 at the top here, okay? Okay, so pick up 2 black beads, go into the other top bead. We're going to pick up 2 black beads here on the side, individual, so 1 and then 2. And then here we're just going to add one black bead this time in between these two right here. Okay, so just go straight into the next bead. Then you're going to pick up 2 individual black beads. So 1 and 2. Now we're going to pick up 2 silver beads. You're going to sew up into that first silver bead right there, okay? Pick up 2 individual, that should be the corner, so there we go. You're going to pick up 2 individual silver beads. So 1 and 2. Here at the corner, you're going to add 1 black bead. And then you're going to add 1 black bead here and 1, and here we need to step up. So 1 and step up through the end 2. Okay, so we now have this. So the next round, you're going to pick up 2 black beads for the end. And then we're going to do 3 individual black beads. So 1, 2, and 3. You're going to pick up 2 black beads, individual, sorry, I should have said. So 1 and 2. Oh, and 1 more, sorry. 3 black beads here. Go into the end. Pick up 2 silver beads. Pick up a silver bead. Another silver. Another silver. A black. Black. And 1 more black. And here we're going to step up through our 2. Okay. Next round, we're going to pick up 2 black beads. And this time we're going to pick up 4 individual black beads. So 1, 2, 3. Actually here you're going to have to pick up 2. Sorry, I lied. Pick up 2 here at the edge, okay, and go ahead and go into that next black bead, okay. Then you're going to pick up 2 individual black beads, so 1 and 2, oops, 2, pick up one silver bead and go into the end silver bead. Pick up 2 silver beads, go into the end silver bead, and then silver, 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 and here you're going to pick up 2 black. Go into the first black bead. Oops, I just caught through that on there. Okay, so 2 black beads here, okay, and then black, 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 so 3 individual black. And on that last one, you have to step up. Okay, so we are now done with our black and silver, and we just have to add our gold on, okay? So go ahead, pick up 2 gold, go into the end, and then you're just going to add a gold in each gap, going down the side. And when you get to the edge between the 2 black beads, you're going to add a 15-0, okay? So these are all Delicas here. And then right here, we're going to add a 15-0, okay? So that's a 15-0. And then the rest are all Delicas. So Delica, 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 one more Delica. And then here you're adding 2 Delicas at the end. And then again, just add Delicas until you get to here where you're going to add a 15-0 right there, okay? Okay, and when you get to the end, you're going to step up through the black and the gold. Okay, so here you're just going to add your 15-0 at the top, sew around, add a 15-0 at the bottom, sew around, and then tie in your thread just like we did for these smaller shapes here, okay? So 15-0 and go all the way around the edge to the other end, add to the other 15-0, sew all the way around the edge, and then sew in your thread. All right, so I'll do that really quickly. Okay, so when you get back to the top, you can just sew through that first 15-0, and then again, I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to sew straight down that little line of beads right there, okay? You don't have to go the whole way down, just however far, and then kind of flip and go a different direction, and then you can cut. Okay, and then do the same thing, just weave in the other tail, and then let's talk about joining it together. Okay, so for joining, there are no rules per se, but I do have a few guidelines which might help you. So what I did was I played around with my shapes and I laid it out in a way that I thought gave me a nice look. And you can, remember, you can flip your pieces over, like if you don't want the line going that way, you want it going that way, you can flip things over, okay? So I just played around and rearranged it kind of how I thought I could join the pieces together. And I tried to kind of keep the silver areas connected and a little, I mean, you don't want it to be just all silver, but you kind of want the silver areas to like flow together, if that makes sense. You see how they're all kind of flowing into each other in mine? So I would recommend trying that, or you could even, you know, try and put them all to the outer edges. I don't know. I also, you know, you like you can make mismatched earrings, or if you want to make the same, once you've made your first one, you can just copy it and then flip it over. The other thing is I sometimes joined using a bicone, and then the other bicones I would go back and join later on, okay? So like something that helped me was once I had it laid out, my first one laid out, I took a picture and then I could look, because as you're sewing, you're going to be picking up the two pieces and you're like, oh wait, how was it? And then I could look at the picture and I could go, oh right, I was joining on right here. Okay, yeah. So that's another little tip for you. But like I said, they don't have to be the same. They can each be different. You can, you know, join however you want to join them together. Just find a way that looks pleasing to you, and then there's no great secret about it. You're just literally sewing around the edges, and wherever there's joins, you're sewing them together. And I tried to make sure that when I was doing my design, that points were joining onto things, so that I could, like, if there wasn't room for a point, like here maybe, I would just space it out more and then put a bicone in there, okay? Or like maybe here I would put a bicone there. Maybe I could join here, but have a bicone here, you know, so you can kind of play around and figure out where you're going to want your bicones to be and everything like that, okay? So yeah, I'm not going to do a full tutorial like sew through two and join here, you know. It's however you want to do it, okay? So anyway, let me know if you try this. I would love to see what you guys come up with, and I think it would make such a cool bracelet just to make a whole big section like that. But anyway, yeah, you can also use different size bicones. I only used 3mm bicones, but you could absolutely stick some 4 or 6 or whatever in there to give it a more jagged looking, you know, icy appearance if you wanted to, okay? Okay, so I went ahead, sewed together my second earring, and I sewed them both the same and just flipped one. So they're exactly the same, but one is flipped over, okay, so that they are opposites. And it shouldn't need stiffening, but if it does, you can do it after you sew it together. Don't do it before, because you might have trouble getting into the holes in the shapes. And also do remember that the crystals are sharp, so you might want to reinforce any connections that really, like here I have, you know, that's supported, so I didn't reinforce that, but here these two are just what's supporting that top bit, so I did reinforce them. So just you know, anything that you think needs an extra little line of thread, go ahead and reinforce. But anyway, I think they're pretty cool. I think they came out good, and you can try different colors. Obviously, you don't have to stick to black and gold and silver. You know, have fun playing with this. And, you know, Have fun putting your shapes together, and I will see you guys in my next video. Take care. Bye.